The Sicilian sun is dazzling. It bathes the squares of Palermo in gold, dances upon the domes of cathedrals, and warms the bustling world of the living. But in the very heart of this vibrant life, beneath the shadow of the Capuchin monastery, lies a different reality. Where the sunbeams end, a territory beyond the reach of time begins. This place is more than just a cemetery. It is a city of shadows, a grand silent assembly where death is not hidden behind marble slabs, but put on display, like a frozen frame from the infinite drama of human existence. The Capuchin Catacombs are a portal where flesh met eternity, and decay was transformed into a monument to pride, faith, and love. Welcome to a place where 8,000 pairs of empty eye sockets gaze back at us, reminding us that the earthly journey is but a brief moment in the face of infinity. The history of this sacred site began in 1525, when the Capuchin order settled in Palermo. The monks, having chosen the path of asceticism, sought only solitude for prayer. Over time, however, their communal cemetery became overcrowded. In 1599, it was decided to excavate new crypts beneath the main altar of the church. The first to enter this eternal abode was Brother Silvestro of Gubbio. When years later, the monks opened the old grave to relocate the remains, they froze in sacred awe. Silvestro's body was untouched by decay. It had been preserved as if the very earth of Sicily refused to take him into its depths, turning him into a natural mummy. This was seen as a sign of divine providence. Since then, Silvestro has stood at the entrance to the catacombs, a silent guardian greeting every guest with his frozen, wise smile. Thus was born the tradition that turned the Palermo underworld into the most extraordinary necropolis in the world. Catacombs are not a chaos of bones, but a strictly structured hierarchy, a mirror of the society of that era. Walking through these corridors, you pass through halls divided by status and vocation. There is the monks' corridor, stern guardians of faith in their coarse brown robes. Nearby is the men's corridor, aristocrats, merchants, and fathers of families. Further along are the halls for women, debutantes, and virgins, whose peace is guarded by lace caps and silk dresses faded by centuries of dust. In the Hall of Professionals stand those who once shaped the city's history: doctors, lawyers, artists, and officers in full dress uniforms. They are clothed in their finest attire, as if death had caught them in the middle of an important reception or a Sunday service. This was a symbol of status. The wealthy families of Palermo paid for years to ensure their loved ones maintained their appearance, so they could be visited, their clothes changed, and news from the living world brought to them. Here death was not a parting, it was a continuation of social presence. These mummies are not mere remains, they are frozen ambitions, stilled prayers, and man's attempt to cheat oblivion itself. How was such chilling realism achieved? The technology used by the monks was both simple and sacred. The bodies were placed in special drying rooms called collatoio, where they underwent natural dehydration for 8 to 10 months. The dry air of the caves and the specific composition of the soil did their work. Afterward, the mummies were washed with vinegar, smoked with herbs, and stuffed with straw to restore their human form. During periods of epidemics, some bodies were submerged in lime baths or arsenic solutions. This process was an act of profound reverence. Every fold of clothing, every shoelace was meant to testify that the person had not vanished without a trace. Looking at the parted mouths and tilted heads, it feels as though these walls are saturated with the final breath of 8,000 souls. This is not horror, it is the triumph of matter, stubbornly clinging to form even when the spirit has long since departed. By the end of the 19th century, the tradition began to fade. Authorities banned mummification, and the catacombs officially closed their doors in 1881. But history prepared one final, poignant chord. In 1920, as the world recovered from the horrors of war, a 2-year-old girl named Rosalia Lombardo died of pneumonia in Palermo. Overcome by inconsolable grief, her father pleaded with the great embalmer Alfredo Salafia to preserve his child. Salafia performed a miracle. Rosalia, known as the Sleeping Beauty, rests in a glass coffin in the chapel of Saint Rosalia. She looks as if she fell asleep only a moment ago, golden curls, delicate skin, and thick eyelashes. For decades, Salafia's formula remained a secret. Only recently did scientists discover that a mixture of formalin, alcohol, glycerin, and zinc achieved this divine preservation. Rosalia is a symbol of purity and sorrow, the final period in the history of the catacombs, reminding us that love is capable of the impossible, even if that impossible is but an illusion of life. The Capuchin Catacombs are not a place for idle curiosity. It is a temple of the memento mori philosophy, remember your death. Here, in the silence of the underground galleries, one realizes the true value of every day lived. Faces worn by time, decaying fabrics, and a silence so thick you can touch it speak louder than any sermon. We come here as guests, looking at those who were once like us, realizing that one day others will look at what remains of us. But there is no fear in this. There is only a deep humility before the greatness of the Creator's design. Leaving these cool corridors and returning to the light of Palermo, we carry away not the chill of the grave, but a new sharp sense of life. For only here, among 8,000 shadows, does one truly understand how wonderful it is to be alive.